You gotta just chill out, man.
Pittsburgh Steeler fans, welcome back to another episode of the Scho Bro Show. This is Steel Curtain Network's Dave Schofield coming at you Tuesday night, just after 9 p.m. Where else would you rather be, Steelers fans? And with me, as always, except when he's not, is my big brother Rich, Big Bro Scho. How's it going tonight?
All goes well out here in the mountains of Western Maryland.
In the frozen tundra of no.
Can say that again.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we got our first day above freezing where I am in like 2 weeks, and it was like I felt like I could wear shorts. Oh wait, I was wearing shorts every day anyway, so it didn't really matter. but yeah,
You said you couldn't survive in the cold. Just so you know.
No, well, because I'd be wearing shorts already. that was so last week's 5 minutes of non-Steelers talk.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
Talked to Thaddeus Kennedy on the phone this week, loyal listener, and he could not believe that you said you wouldn't handle the cold.
Because
coming from the guy that wears shorts all the time.
Because I would be in shorts. That would be the problem. I would be in shorts and Crocs and would not be ready. I would not be ready to handle it. That I wouldn't. In other words, I wouldn't see myself as someone prepared. That was more what it was. Whatnot. I could probably handle it. Yeah, that's okay. And then Pick and Drew Big Dummy said, yeah, it was only a high of 83 today in Phoenix. Yeah, we get people from all over the place. We have people in different hemispheres than what we are. So for some of you, we talk about the cold, and it could be completely oblivious to you. But we are at least having similar weather than what you have in Pittsburgh. So yeah.
You had to bring up Pick and Drew Big Dummy. We must take a moment because there was a death in the past week related to you and your Pick and Drew Big Dummy talk. That the actor that played Lamont on Sanford and Sons passed away.
That's week. Right. Yes, that is true. I don't remember his name. I saw it, but I can't remember the actor's name. Now that you said it, but.
Because of that, I went back and watched a couple episodes of Sanford and Sons.
Yeah. Elizabeth. Sorry. So you got to love it. So let's talk Steelers. And you know what? Here's the thing with talking Steelers tonight. We made a decision. Well, I had an idea and ran it past Rich if he was all right with this. And I feel
Dave made an executive decision, and I allowed him to go ahead and make the decision.
There you go. That we decided, let's steer away from all the coach talk. And let's get back to topics that we generally talk about during the quote-unquote off-season. This is the exact topic we did 1 year ago. The first show in February, we did a jumper slump podcast about the Steelers' second-year players going into their second year. We're going to look at it two different ways this time, actually. We're going to look at the players who had their second year, their second season, who were drafted by the Steelers. We're going to look at drafted players. I don't even know if they had an undrafted guy that was around for a second year, because like Beanie Bishop was around this year. So the drafted players, the draft class of 2024 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, was their sophomore season a jump or a slump? And then what we'll do is we'll turn it around and we'll do what we did last year and look at the 2025 draft class and say, what do we expect from them? Jumps. I mean, honestly, we should get lots of jumps. We should expect a lot of jumps, but it doesn't always work out that way. But before we do that, we'll at least discuss some of the news when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers and coaching before we get on. Today was not a good day for the Pittsburgh Steelers when it came to coaching, at least in my eyes, for a couple reasons.
I would agree.
One, maybe I should say one and two. There were two coaches tied to the Steelers, some of which people believed had already been hired. Because you got to remember, a lot of these reports are that the Steelers have hired someone, but then the Steelers take forever until they announce it. The Steelers have announced a number of them. Because, it was Mike McCarthy, then Patrick Graham, then they hit 3 assistant coaches, then 5 more, both on Monday. So they announced 8 on Monday. I'm not even going to go through them because other people have done shows and have talked about it. So, but some of the ones that people thought were done deals ended up not being done deals. So one of the big ones is Scott Tolzien was believed to be the Steelers, was going to come in to be the Steelers offensive coordinator. He was the quarterbacks coach under Mike McCarthy in Dallas, I think.
I believe.
I know he was the quarterbacks coach in New Orleans last year. So that was Tyler Shuck, that whole thing. And a lot of people thought that, hey, that works. A young guy, maybe not be the end of the world that he's not calling plays and everything, but worked with McCarthy before. Word on the street is, no, he's going back to New Orleans. The question that we don't know, was that his decision or the Steelers' decision? We're not sure. The other one was reported that it was his decision, and that was for tight end / passing game coordinator. I'm going to get the first name wrong. It was Haslett. It was Jim Haslett's son. Do you remember what the name is?
Paul.
Paul. Was it Paul?
I think it's Paul.
I don't know. Let me check the tracker. I think I had it here. Chase. No, it was Chase Haslett.
Okay.
Chase Haslett. That he is staying in New Orleans as well, because that was another New Orleans one. I don't know if the two things had anything to do with each other. Lots of questions about that. So I feel like it's not a good day, because I thought Tolzien would have been was sounding good in my eyes. Okay.
Yeah, that one was a little disappointing, but
yeah.
Back to the drawing board.
A lot of Pittsburgh media, someone in here said that Cabali mentioned it. I know that Ray Fittipaldo mentioned it about, do you think they really don't want to become a coordinator? It was that he was told he wasn't going to get the job. I don't, but honestly, sometimes a lot of Steelers media, they get kudos for making the Steelers look good, and they lose credentials if they make the Steelers look bad. So you got to make sure that you do the right thing there. I don't know. I really don't know. So there hasn't been much reported. I do know that the Steelers do not have an offensive coordinator, but you also have to look you also have to look at, I'm looking at the wrong thing. How attractive is an offensive coordinator job when you're not calling plays? That is an issue.
Yes. That
really is. So I understand. So we'll see what that is. The other piece of bad news, we unfortunately, one of the few coaches I really wanted the Steelers to keep was running backs coach Eddie Faulkner. When the Steelers hired a different running back coach, a guy that we thought was going to be the assistant offensive line coach, that was kind of a surprise. You had a feeling that wasn't going to happen. Remember, Faulkner was the interim offensive coordinator when the Steelers fired Matt Canada. He didn't call plays. Yes. Mike Sullivan called plays. But he's headed to Baltimore. So not only does it hurt that the Steelers didn't bring him back, which I really wanted him to, it also hurts where he's going. So you had that's the three pieces of coaching news today more than anything. Now the Steelers are also apparently interviewed. Angelicchio or something. I can't even get the name right. I'll have to learn it if he ends up being the Steelers OC.
Angelicchio.
Yes, that is someone that they did that apparently was interviewing today. So that's the only other real coaching news that was out there. But Rich, those three that aren't going to be in Pittsburgh, anything you want to say about that before we get on to our topic?
No, just go on to the topic.
Okay, you're like, it's Coach Hall. I'll say this: the coaching staff is really important. But my goodness, it's crazy. I'm feeling a bit burnt by all the coaching stuff. I really am. But if you think back to a year ago at this time when we were doing this podcast about sophomore jumps and slumps, what was Steelers Nation frustrated about? Come on, Steelers, do something. Do something different. And the thing was, it was the time of year where the only thing different you could do was your coaching staff. And the Steelers didn't make many changes.
Nope.
And a couple of those changes stuck around. Because
Yep.
I'm pretty sure the linebacker coach and the quarterback coach were new last year. I might be off on that, but those are two that have stuck around, and I think they were both new last year. But that's beside the point. So now there's so much change. I'm just like, my goodness, it's an ongoing cycle of everyone reporting one thing and then it not happening and blah blah blah. So it's a lot to see. So, all right. So there. But if you're wanting to know what's going on with all this stuff with the coaches, hired, leaving, rumored, all that stuff, just go check out my tracker at steelcurtainnetwork.com and you'll be good to go. So, all right, Rich, I do want to say this for the live chat. Keep it in the back of your mind. I'm not going to ask for it yet, but it's your week. It is your week to choose our 5 minutes of non-Steelers talk. So we'll be asking for that coming out of the break or probably going into the break. So you can start thinking about it now, and then you can enter it there where we'll try to cycle through that and pick a good one from your poll. All right. First things first, we're going to look at the 2024 draft class. These players were going into their second NFL season. The season began with, all of them were with the Steelers through their rookie year, and almost everybody was. And we'll get to the one that wasn't. Then that was for unfortunate reasons. So we're going to go through these one by one, and the question is: did they have a sophomore jump or a sophomore slump? And Rich, you're not wearing the jersey tonight, which is okay, nope. But we're starting off with your jersey, Troy Fautanu. Slump or jump?
Oh, that definitely was a jump for him because he went from being injured and not playing to being the starting right tackle, and in my opinion, did a decent job this year.
Yes, same here. I don't think there's any question of who the Steelers' right tackle is next year. That's how he did. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that was it. I've got people putting 5-minute ideas in yet. We're not going to look at them now. We're going to look at them later. So just so people realize that. So yeah, I agree. I have him already written down. He was a jump. That one's easy because what he was the year before made that really simple.
Yeah, made that real simple.
Now, if he would have not been injured, like if we want to say, oh, well, what if he would have repeated his one game that he played for the whole season? Would we have really considered it a jump? I'm like, we probably still would have called it a small jump, maybe.
Yeah,
so,
maybe.
Yeah. So and
but
he did.
It's hard to even think back and say what he would have been.
Yeah,
you can't.
I was saying this, but it's one of those things that you can't what if it of what it would have been in year one to compare to year two. You can what if it a little bit if they had no year two, but. Like we'll get to eventually, but you can't really do it the other way around. So yeah, I think that's pretty easy consensus. That was a jump. What about Zach Frazier?
Oh, to me, he was still a jump.
Okay.
And honestly, one of the reasons you can call him a jump was because of the praises he drew from Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
That in itself tells you that in year two, Rodgers was impressed by him, his abilities, his knowledge of the game, just all of that. For him, I still call a jump. Of course, I can't call it as big a jump as I probably am calling for Fautanu.
So are you calling that a little jump?
Yeah. I'm still calling it a jump. Because honestly, if you look at it, you could argue that he is this year was the third best center in football potentially.
Yeah, he ranked I think 6th by PFF, but of the 5 ahead of him, 4 of them were the AFC. I mean, they was close, and take PFF for what it's worth. If you look at his PFF score, it was better as a rookie than it was this past year. He improved in his pass blocking, but went down in his run blocking. I do believe is how that worked. To me, I also looked at the Pro Football References AV. They had him down 1. To me, I'm putting him as a neither. If I'm allowed to use a neither. If I had to pick, I would pick little jump because he didn't slump. He didn't move backwards. And my thing isn't that he didn't have a good year. My thing is he had such a great rookie year. That's the only thing that makes it not a jump. So I remember saying the same thing about Joey Porter Jr. I'm like, I don't need Joey Porter Jr. to make a big jump in his second season. I just need him to do what he did in the part of the season he started to do it for all 17 games the second year. That's what I'd said about him. So I think he's good. If I had to pick one or the other and couldn't say neither, then it's towards the jump. But to me, it's not as much about this past year as how good he was his rookie year as well. But I like what you're saying about Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to have to make sure that I make a note of that.
Yeah, and after year 2, we liked year 1. It was very good.
Loved year 1.
Okay. But
rookie
now,
of the Steelers rookie of the year, yeah.
Here's why I'm still going to call it a jump, Dave, is because this.
Yeah.
He did year 1, and we were pretty happy with that. And we got year 2.
Mm-hmm.
Do you now feel that the Steelers have their next long-term center?
Yes.
And because of that,
last year. I felt it last year, but
you felt it last year, but you couldn't. But you knew you couldn't fully say it if he couldn't duplicate it.
You needed at least 1 year of duplication.
Yep.
And that 1 year of duplication, and that's all he had to do was duplicate it. And I feel like he did a little bit.
Yep.
So, so that's why I'm not a little bit, meaning if he jumped it, he jumped a little bit, not like the Faatanu jump. Okay. So yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. So here we go. Roman Wilson.
Slump.
And to me, here's the thing about the slump. I had slump as well. And it's not because he moved backwards from year 1 to year 2. He was slumped for both years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was injured most of his rookie year, was back for some of it, and they didn't activate him. You're like, well, why didn't they activate him and everything else? But then this year, he finished up the year a healthy scratch a lot of the time. Yeah, he had 2 touchdown receptions. Both of them were in garbage time in games the Steelers were losing. So that's why I would say, I think a lot of people are agreeing with that, that he's a slump. Now, could a new offense and new everything come in and make him take a jump in year 3? It could. Or because he hasn't really showed much of anything, is he not even going to be part of the plan moving forward for year 3? I think both are just as likely.
Yeah, I think it's flip a coin whether whether he makes it out of camp on the roster.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. So I would say the most likely thing would be for him to be bottom of the depth chart guy, inactive. That's the most, which is the same thing of what he finished last year. That's the most likely. But I would say, if you had to say is he going to be better versus not on the team at all? That's the coin flip.
Yep.
That's the coin flip. So that's the way I look at it. All right. So we're going to keep rolling on. The other Wilson, Peyton Wilson. What do you have for him?
I have him as a jump.
I actually have him as a little slump. I don't think he was as good last year as he was the year before.
And I know why you say that.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't as flashy as he was the year before.
No, it wasn't even just necessarily flashy. I felt there was times that he, especially as the season went on, I felt that it was too much for him. Now, could it be simply because of the system wasn't working the best for him or everything? Perhaps. I mean, there's data to back. He had a great PFF score in 2024. He had a 74. He dropped 20 points from 24 to 25.
All right. What went on with his snap counts?
And his snap counts were 2024, his snap was 520. And in 2025, it was 762.
Right. So he did have a decent jump in snaps.
Mm-hmm.
All, even with that, you got to remember there were times when, especially times when Derek Harmon wasn't playing, that he was coming out of the game more because they were substituting out for him in running situations because they were trying to do what they could to stop the run.
Yeah.
See, to me, I'm basing most of mine off of just things that I saw in his play. It's not, like I said, he wasn't as flashy this year as last year. I actually thought he defended the run fairly well, but when he didn't, it was noticeable when he didn't. Like he either did really well or got caught out of position, and usually it was an over pursuit.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had him listed as little slump, meaning I didn't think he got better. Like I said, I actually thought he took a step backwards this past year.
See, I still think though what he did was solidify himself at the position.
Yeah. I mean, my goodness, he was much better as a pass. When they blitzed him, he was much better in 2025.
Yes.
Like, for example, he passed rushed 39 times. This is PFF stats. 39 times in 2024 and 79 times in 2025. So basically twice as much.
Mm-hmm.
But his total pressures went from 5 to 17. It was more than tripled. He actually had 2 sacks this past year. So to me, I thought that was significant.
And the other thing is
he had a lot more tackles.
You didn't see him. Honestly, Dave, this would be a good, fun thing for you to go back and dig up some stuff on if you could. Did they throw at him as often this year?
I have it right here. Right here based on PFF, and that was the thing. He was targeted 43 times in 2024 and 53 times in 2025.
But he had 230 more snaps.
Well, he had 132 more coverage snaps.
But
honestly, that's like his PFF grade. His pass rush grade was almost the same the 2 years. His tackling grade was better his rookie year, but I mean, still not terrible. His run defense wasn't that much different. It was a little bit lower this year than last year they had him as. But it was his coverage that was a huge difference. They had him way down in his coverage. For example, he gave up no touchdowns in 2024. He gave up 2 touchdowns in 2025. Had 1 interception in both years. Drew 2 penalties.
If I remember correctly, one of those touchdowns that got attributed to him shouldn't have been attributed to him.
Yeah,
that was
and
one
that's
of those.
The thing. You could look at Pro Football Focus and Pro Football Reference, and you'll get completely different stats for targeted, for missed tackles, for these advanced stats, because the NFL doesn't keep them officially.
Right.
But the big thing is he gave up a lot more yards in 2025 than 2024. He gave up 9.1 yards per reception 2025 versus 6.7. Yak was a little bit more. I mean, you could say that. The big thing was, what is it? The quarterback, whatever it is, the quarterback ranking or whatever it is, QBR or whatever it is, against him was 80.2 last year, but 103.6. When I say last year, meaning his rookie year, 103.6. This is a debatable one because I feel like parts of his game got better, but parts of his game weren't as strong. So that's why you could really go either way. So I'm fine that you say jump. I'm still saying slump because I think it's that much of a. It depends on which way you look at it.
Yeah.
All right. Can we live with that one?
Yes, we
can
live with that one.
To me, I think this is the easiest one, other than Troy Fautanu, Mason McCormick.
Oh, I think I'm going to have to call him a jump.
Oh, absolutely. I thought he was a nice jump. I thought he surprised as a, let's just say this. He surprised as a rookie 4th-round pick that you thought of, hey, he's doing really well for a rookie 4th-round pick. This year, he was doing well as a guard. You weren't looking at him as a 4th-round draft pick. You were just looking at him getting the job done. And he was getting the best PFF scores. Like I said, I don't put a lot of, you don't have to put a lot of stock in him, but it is something when you look at offensive linemen. He was having the best on the Steelers at the end of the season, like the last 3 games. It was him. Yeah. So I just think he's one of those guys that is going to continue to grow. I think that's an easy jump.
Yeah, and I like what you say because I think he's going to continue to hone in and refine his game, and being out there with guys like Zach Frazier and Troy Fautanu.
Yeah,
and that
you gotta love those 3 in a row right there.
Oh man, it's
all in the same draft.
It's kind of nice to have.
Yeah. That to me, and to see them all be jump, even if it was just a little jump because one of them did so great as a rookie. I mean, that's what's nice to see more than anything. Those 3 grouped together. That's really what it's all about. So, anything else you want to say about McCormick?
No.
Logan Lee.
Logan Lee. Huh.
Who did not play as a rookie because he was on IR the whole season. He played a little bit. I tell you what, he only played a few snaps. Like, oh my goodness, like the one game. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Was it week 18? He played 1 snap but had a pass deflection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's another one that continued to get in there.
You kind of got to give him a little bit of a jump because we had nothing to compare it to. You can't call it that big a jump because he still didn't play a ton of snaps.
Yeah. So to me, but I mean, I would, or is he someone who's still slumping? You know what I'm saying? To me, I would say he was neither. But if I had to pick one or the other, I would slightly lean towards a little bit of a jump.
Yeah.
Just because he did make some plays when he was in there.
He's one that you're not going to be able to, you can't, like, we know what's going on with Frazier. We know what's going on with McCormick. We know what's going on with Fautanu. The same can't be said yet about Logan Lee.
Yeah. You still don't really know. I mean, my goodness, he only played snaps in, let me count it up in 7 games.
Yeah.
7 games. He played a total of 47 snaps on defense.
I liked, though, that he was visible when he was in there.
Yeah. Yep. That's pretty important. That, he would get his, he had 2 batted balls, 1 quarterback hit, a couple hurries, See,
to me, he's a TBD.
That's why I say he's neither because of this. And then you've got poor Ryan Watts, who is honestly, you have to ultimately say slump just by default for me, because the poor guy gets injured in the last preseason game his rookie year, is out for the season, and has to medically retire in the offseason because of the extent of his neck injury.
That hurts.
That does. So
I mean, it sucks for us as Steeler fans. It sucks even worse for him.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he was a what? What did they do? Have 2 6th that year? Is that what it was? So it wasn't like, it was like, to me, once you get to a 5th round pick, it's like hit or miss. That's what's been crazy under Omar Khan. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, is it a good thing or a bad thing that they keep all their rookies? Because my goodness, you look back, you don't have to go back all that far to see that there was even some players that were drafted by the Steelers who never appeared in games at all in the NFL. I know some people want to say, oh, well, like the Senquez Golsons. No, that was an injury thing. But I'm like, you're talking about players at the bottom of the draft. Like if you want to go back and say
of the draft. How about, The Lima Swedes of the world.
True, but I'm saying if you take out Ryan Watts, who was just injured, the last player drafted by the Steelers who did not appear in an NFL game was Joshua Frazier in 2018. Okay, but then you go back to 2017. There was Keon Adams. 2016 there was one player, Travis Feeney, never played in an NFL game. But 2015 there was two, but the one was Golden. But you go back to 2014, my goodness, there was 3 players drafted by the Steelers that never appeared in an NFL game. And the further back you go, the more you see that a little bit more and more at times, that they just never made it, and that happens. So sometimes you're like, well, do you expect every player that you draft to make it? Yeah, not necessarily. So, but to me, even though it wasn't as much for Ryan Watts, that it's like it was a disappointment. It's disappointing for him that he was drafted and was looking good in the preseason. He was going to make the team, and then that happened. So that was one of those. So that was just one of those things. All right. So you have everybody jumped but Watts and Roman Wilson. I had if I had, like I say, not taking the where I said neither, if I had to at least say one side or the other a little bit, both of the ones I said neither were little jumps. The one that I had for a little slump, I also had Peyton Wilson as a little slump. And that's what we had. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about what we think of the Steelers that were rookies this past year. Then we'll do our 5 minutes, our 5 minutes of non-Steelers talk.
Put it out there now, live chat.
That was when we're looking for your topics. Put your topics in there, and we'll during the break, and we'll look at it. And of course, we'll have our big question at the end. So if you're with us here live, we're not going anywhere. If you're with us here on the audio side, stick around. We'll be right back after this.
Relax, don't worry, no rush, what's the hurry? Relax, don't worry, don't worry, relax. Relax, don't worry, no rush, what's the hurry? Relax, don't worry, don't worry, relax.
Yeah, we're going to relax. Don't worry. This is one of those things that rather than talk about a bunch of the coaches, let's talk about some of the Steelers players because, yeah, coaching matters, but what the players do matters even more. I do want to say one thing that Steel Dog 88 said Chris Oladokun never made the roster for the Steelers. You're right. He said except the practice squad. He didn't make the practice squad for the Steelers. That's one of my pet peeves. You even get the Steelers media talking about, oh, well, that fourth quarterback will be great for the practice squad. The Steelers have not done that. They don't keep a fourth quarterback on the practice squad. I don't know why they talk about it every year. But anyway, Chris Oladokun, no, he didn't make the Steelers practice squad. He made the Chiefs. But you forget, he started games for the Chiefs this past year. So technically there was that. All right, we've got some of our 5 minute non-Steeler talk thing coming in. We'll make a decision here with these in a little bit. So Rich, let's go ahead and turn to the 2024 draft class and let's say what we project. Now, did I lose you? Can I hear you?
Sorry.
Oh, there you go. Okay, we got you. Okay, just making sure you're there. So first one, Derek Harmon. What do you project for him this year? Do you project a slump or a jump?
Oh, wow. I'm actually hoping for a jump. And part of the reason I'm going to lean towards that jump is he's going to benefit some from the off season, just from a conditioning and getting his body right standpoint. And hopefully we then don't have some of those minor injuries that kept him out of games for a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of, I want to see him be a Troy Fautanu, but it doesn't have to be as much because I think how many games did Harmon play this past year? It's more than people think. He played 12.
Yeah.
He played 12, had 3 sacks in 12 games. I think we're going to see a little bit of a jump, mainly because I want to see him on the field for more games.
Yeah.
Will be the big thing. If he continues with this play and doesn't slump as much as anything, okay, it's not like he played phenomenal out of this world or anything. There's still room for improvement, especially if he can do it for 17 games. That's why I'm going jump as well. I think you're exactly right with that one. So, all right. Caleb Johnson. Do
Who?
you see him? Yeah. Do you see him as a
Who?
jump, or do you think he continues to slump? This one's tough.
This one is tough.
Do you want to know why?
Why is that?
This one would be much easier to answer come May, when you have a better idea of what the Steelers have done at the position. I don't know that they're going to draft a running back. My goodness, if they use all 12 draft picks, they very well could draft a running back in there somewhere. But I think a lot of this has going to come down to if the Steelers are able to re-sign Kenny Gainwell or not. You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That will play a big role.
Yeah.
I'm still leaning probably more towards slump because what I saw this year, when they would turn around and hand him the ball, there was I didn't see enough explosiveness, and you're like, okay, I can deal with that if I see a lot of power, and I didn't see a ton of power either.
Yeah.
Like, it was mid on both fronts.
Yeah.
And I'm just not sure if that's going to translate.
Yeah. I'm going to say jump because I think he's, but it really does come down to what the Steelers do. And I'm going to say in free agency at running back, only because is he going to have more of a chance to touch the ball, or is he even going to just continue to be an afterthought?
Yeah.
Part of the reason last year is they didn't need him with the way Jaylen Warren and Kenny Gainwell were playing, which is what I tried to say going into the draft. I'm like, the Steelers don't need to draft a running back like everybody says. And then as soon as they did, so many of these draft experts, I mean, not wanting to pick on Jeremy Betts or even Roy Countryman and all them, but they were ready to crown Caleb Johnson that it wasn't when he takes over as the main guy, but if he does it by week 1. And I'm like, I don't think he'll do it at all. And I wouldn't be shocked if he barely touches the ball in week 1. And, it wasn't him. It was about their other options.
And then they threw him the bone of putting him on kickoff coverage, and we saw
try to get him some touches somewhere. Yeah.
Disaster that was.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I mean, because Steeler Chick 46 said this, says Caleb hurt by dumb decision to have him do kick returns the way he never did them in college. But you know what? I don't think Jaylen Warren did them in college. He did kick returns. I think that was their opportunity to try to get him touches without having to rely on him in the run game, which also included if he was in the game, you couldn't just have him come in when it was an obvious run because he couldn't pass protect yet. And things of that nature. So you try to get him somewhere in there where he could touch the ball, and it ended up being a dumb decision because it wasn't something. I get the reasoning behind it, but that doesn't mean that it made it a good decision. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I think Steel Dog 88 is exactly right. Preseason is really going to dictate what he does. So. But yeah,
that's probably a good analysis there.
I like that we weren't the same on this one. I'm just kind of saying he's got to jump because it was so bad, but he very well could just be in the same boat, which to me would be slump if he just was once again the same thing. So here we go. I think this next one's interesting as well. Jack Sawyer. What do you think for Jack Sawyer? He got to play more than I thought he was going to get to because of injuries and whatnot.
Yes.
And I thought he did a nice job.
And I thought he did a nice job. The only reason you can't necessarily go all out jump for him is because of what's in front of him.
Exactly. So
When you're
what do I
talking
put you down for?
Watt, when you're talking Watt, Highsmith, Herbig, Sawyer, you know, it's still that order.
Some people are still asking, well, are the Steelers going to move on from Alex Highsmith now because of Herbig or this, that? We still don't know how that's going to shake out, but I'm not looking at that right now. So do I put you down as a little jump, a little slump, or a jump or slump, or what?
You know, if I were going to guess, I'm going to guess a little jump.
Okay, that's what I wrote down too. And that's just because to me, a little jump would honestly just be doing the same thing. Because I thought
doing the same kind of thing.
His expectations of for him to do as a rookie jumped so much last year. If he just keeps the same thing, to me, that's just him. You know,
Yes.
he's like he's like the club at 11:30. Sorry, it's just what it is. All right. YA Black.
I think we continue to see him jump. He's another one of those guys that I think is, you know, he got some experience in his rookie year. And again, he's going to have an off-season program, another camp. And I don't know. I kind of like the guy. I really
I do too.
You know, I almost, instead of the Fautano jersey, but the other one I considered getting was black. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I could see that. I like the 76. I'm gonna go against the grain on this one. And I'm gonna treat this one just like we treated Peyton Wilson. You said jump, I said a little slump, because I felt the expectations were higher for Peyton Wilson coming into the season, and he didn't live up to them. I think that's going to be the same deal with YA Black. I think people are going to expect him to come in and be really, really great next year because he was a 5th-round pick that did pretty darn good this year, and they're going to have big expectations, and he's not going to be what they thought he was going to be this year.
Yeah, see, I don't know that I have those big expectations. I'm saying I think
Steelers Nation will. And I don't think they should.
I'm saying a little jump because what I expect is the same kind of play we were getting out of him.
Yeah.
Just a little more of it.
And that's what, but to me, the reason I'm saying a little slump is also because of this. Steel Dog 88 says, Black, I think, depends on what Hayward does.
Yeah.
This is one I'm going to just say it for now, just to kind of go in that direction, but I really hope it's the other way. I would love for him to take a huge jump and the Steelers defensive line be set for a while. But we'll see, because they don't have an official coach yet, although there is one rumored that I think unofficially announced, but you never know how those change. I think do you remember Pecco as a player for the Bengals?
Yes.
With the long hair? Yeah, I always thought he was pretty decent. He was one of those Bengals players that I didn't think was terrible.
He was I always thought of him, which is why I would like him with the Steelers. He was a lunch pail guy.
Yeah, you are exactly right. He seemed like a lunch pail guy. I like it. So, all right, here's the one everyone wants to talk about as we're getting later in the show. Will Howard. Okay, I even had to say the name right?
Yep.
What are we going to say for Will Howard?
Well, honestly, for me, the easy thing to say is a jump.
I agree with you.
Because we didn't even get to see him in the preseason.
Exactly. The biggest jump is to see him play and not bomb in the preseason. He didn't bomb last preseason because he didn't play.
Yep.
So all he has to do is play and not bomb, and it's a jump.
Yep.
Which sucks because it would have been so great to see him play in the preseason last year.
Yes, it would have.
Now, if he doesn't even play in the preseason this year, then that would be a slump and everything else. So, yeah. So that one's – I was curious what you thought about that one. Okay? Here's an interesting one. Carson Brunner.
He is an interesting one. Because his place to shine was special teams.
Yep. Do you want me to go ahead and give my answer?
Yeah, go ahead and give
Okay.
yours.
My answer is I was torn on this one because part of me is like, do I just say it's going to be a slump? I mean, he played one defensive snap last year. He was getting noticed where he even got all-pro votes at the end of the season. He had more all-pro votes than Ben Skoranek did at the same special teams player category. He made the all-rookie team in that regard. So you have to think about it. He did phenomenal in that regard on special teams. But I honestly think next year he's going to be even better. Not on defense. Maybe.
And
if he does anything on defense, that's an automatic jump for me.
And to me, that's why he's so difficult, because he's pretty much just a special teamer.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm with you. As a special teamer, I expect to see him jump.
Because he won't have, I had to go back and look up.
But
he just got better and better as the season went on. So, yeah.
It's also just very tough, though, to ignore his position.
That's true too.
It's just nice to have that. It's just nice to have that extra depth at the position.
But that's another 7th round draft pick. That's a Tyler Matakevich all over again. If that's what he is, to me, I already think he's better. He's a better special teamer than what Matakevich was.
Oh yeah.
So I think the reason he's going to jump is I don't know that Steelers fans noticed him on special teams as much this past year. And now that he got some of the recognition after the season, I think they'll pay attention to him more.
Yeah.
And that's why I think he's going to jump. Because I think they'll be paying attention and he'll do a good job.
Yeah. If I'm thinking of him just as a special teamer and his special teams play, I expect to jump.
Yeah. So okay. And boy, we're very optimistic for the 2025 draft class. To me, okay, and the last but not least, Dante Kent. He was hurt before the season. He went the Corey Trice route. He came back for one practice and got hurt again and was done for the season. Well, you could go either way here. You could be like, all right, I think he jumps because he didn't do anything. I don't think he's even going to be someone who's even in the mix to make the team, which would make it another slump. That's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You're either going to think he gets noticed at all and makes the team and he's a jump, or he's just going to be the end. And
you know what? Here's what I'm going to actually make a statement on this.
Okay.
One. Okay. I'm going to call it a slump, and he doesn't make the team. Ready? Here's why. It's a numbers game. Don't you love numbers, Dave?
Oh, love numbers.
Okay. How many draft picks the Steelers have coming up?
12.
There you go. There you go.
If they could get the exact same thing from a Dante Kent from somebody else that they drafted this year, just because they have all those picks, then if it comes down between a 2024 7th round pick and a 2025 7th round pick, who are they going to keep? A 2025 7th round pick and a 2026 7th round pick. I got my numbers, my years off. They're going to keep the younger one.
Yep.
So that's why I'm going to say.
I'll say slump just due to a numbers game.
I didn't want us to both have the same thing, so I was willing to go. I was going to go the opposite, whatever you did, no matter what. So, and I'll say jump and to say, hey, he'll at least be around. You'll see what he can do. Maybe he even makes the practice. Even making the practice squad would be a jump from last year. So, yep. And there we go. So we have, let's see, I had all jumps in one slump. My only slump was Y.A. Black. And then you had Caleb Johnson and Dante Kent as slumps of these for this year. So there we go. So that's it. That was fun. We got to get our 5 minutes. We had 2 of them. Did you see them both?
Yes, I did.
Which one did you want to go with?
I feel like we did that one last year.
With what the foods?
Yeah.
I do too, because I felt we did tailgate food, and because your answer was pepperoni rolls, because that's what we take to games. I remember that.
Yeah.
So this was specifically Super Bowl foods, which a lot of people it's at home. So you want to do the other one?
Yeah, let's do the other one.
Okay, because this is completely random.
Completely.
Hold on, I gotta get my timer ready. Oh, I don't even have it set. Okay, here we go.
Has nothing to do with football.
Nothing to do with football. Steel Dog 88 says 5 minutes. Coming from a mechanic, craziest vehicle issue you ever had.
Do crashes count?
when you're okay, I'll go first if you don't mind.
Yep.
The craziest vehicle issue I had, I would say, because this is basically car stories. Okay. First car I ever had, 1996 Chevy Cavalier, which is funny because your first car you ever had was a 1992 Chevy Cavalier.
Mm-hmm.
But in my 96 Cavalier, when I went to get some maintenance on it, they and everything, one of the ball joints just crumbled in the car. I went to drive it away from the place where the maintenance was done, and it just the wheel was all wonky. When I tried to turn, had to go right back because I wasn't sure what was going on because I didn't, I was just out of college, and they kept it, told me that was the issue. But when they looked at it, they found out, oh, you also got a crack in your head gasket, so that's going to be. I'm like, I'm not sinking this much money into this car. I'm going to get a new one. So all I had to do after I went ahead and picked out my pick-em-up truck that I was getting, it was a beautiful Nissan Frontier. I missed that truck so bad, but I had to get my old car from the shop to trade it in at the dealership across town. Well, I had someone that was giving me a ride. It was actually a couple of my track kids that I was coaching. I had a vintage Bug, an orange punch buggy, not a new one, an old one. So we're coming through town, and I'm at a stoplight, and I'm over halfway there, and I go, and it goes out, and my wheel just completely flips out to where my wheels like turn sideways. I can't drive it anymore. So I have to get it towed to the dealership. But the part of that story that was interesting is while we're sitting there and waiting for the tow, all of a sudden, boom, there's a crash in the intersection where somebody runs a red light. So they show up with the tow truck. I'm like, you probably have to deal with these vehicles. They're like, no, we're here for you. We have to take you. Okay. But I couldn't go because I was a witness to the crash. So I'm like, for all I know, they could have been 3 states away with my car by the time I could actually leave the scene there. But that's the biggest issue I've ever actually had with car. Rich.
All right, mine is also going to be a little bit of a story. So, okay. I had a 2001 Jeep Wrangler. Mm-hmm. I had it for 13 years, and it started to give me some problems. At times it would just want to cut out, stop running, mm-hmm. or almost do that, mm-hmm. Like just lose power, struggle to mm-hmm. keep it running. Been in and out of the shop. They were doing all kinds of things. I was thankful to my mechanic because they started with the very cheap and easy things. Mm-hmm. Let's check this first. That'll only cost you $30. Great. Mm-hmm. They got to a point where I got to a point where I was worried, I was driving actually from Williamsburg, Virginia, up here to Western Maryland, and mm-hmm. it acted up on me a couple times during that trip. I was like, oh, great. Go back. They do some work on it. They say, okay, we finally got it fixed. The guy took it out this morning, ran it for like 20 miles, no problem. I pick it up about 10 o'clock in the morning. This is second week of June. I get a mile. And it didn't just start to cut out on me. It just dead and would not restart. Turns out what it ended up being, which they did find, was that it was a cracked ignition coil. So what was happening was it was causing spark and grounding out on the frame of my Jeep.
Ah.
Now, why the guy was able to drive it 20 miles that morning was because it acted up worse the hotter it would get during the day. So by the time I got it, it was hot. They fixed it. Actually, they fixed it. I came up here again. Great, no problems. Took it home. Great, no problems. 4 days later, rear-ended, rolled, totaled.
Yeah. Yep. It was only 4 days after that, really? I didn't realize.
After I got him from up here.
After you got him from there.
So I got it, brought it up here, was up here for like 5 or 6 days, went home 4 days later, totaled.
I didn't realize it was that.
Less than 2 weeks from the fix. Finally got it fixed to rear-ended, rolled, totaled.
And Steel Dog 88 says heat expansion on an ignition coil. See that quite a few times. So, and we had some other people put them in there. I like how Afton said broken battery post that wasn't discovered after my second alternator and fourth battery. I have an alternator story that was pretty good, but I didn't share that one. And then Steel Dog 88 said recently discovered it cold. Parents' car wouldn't start because a muffler to be full of ice.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Okay.
do you remember you all thought I was lying when I was in high school that I kept saying when I was driving our parents' car that the lights just kept going out?
Well, you know why we thought you were lying.
It finally happened to somebody else, and I was justified. It was
Not
the
to me.
Huggies. Yeah,
Didn't
they
happen
would
to
just
me.
you just be driving with, and all of a sudden, boom, the lights would just go out.
Well, we just found it awfully convenient that these things would happen and be your excuse for being late getting home.
Yeah, that's what you all thought, but you were wrong. I think it's funny to hear the cat.
No, you would have been late getting home anyway, but you know.
I learned to drive with just my hazards, and it was light enough to see until they come back on. No, because Kathy said, I think my other daughter would say the day she was driving the wheat truck to the elevator when a large snake fell out of the dash onto her feet. I've never heard of this other daughter. This is news to me.
Hold on.
Yeah. So
Remember this live chat?
yeah.
Actually, know it? No, never mind. I'm saving that for mine next time I have it.
There you go. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Now we've got our 5 minutes of 5 minutes non-serious talk. Big question time. Here's the big question for everyone. If you write an explanation, it's fine. I'm not going to read it. I'm only going to read. You got to put the name first. We're going to go with the 2025 draft class. Who do you think will have the biggest jump this year? Before you all put it out there, Rich, you answer not just if they jump or not. Who do you think will have the biggest jump this year?
Wow. I'm just kind of pulling this one out, and we'll see where it goes.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and take my boy.
Okay.
I'm going to take my boy YA Black.
Okay. If you take YA Black, I was really tempted to go Will Howard, but I'm gonna go Derek Carmen. I think he even has a bigger jump after the first year. So putting that out there for everybody else, who you think is going to be the biggest jump from the 2025 class? Put it out there. I hope you're right. I hope you are, but that's one that I just could see that could be there.
Afton's got the wrong class.
You got the wrong class. That was from the year before. Okay, so going into their second year. So here we go. We got Steel Dog 88 that says Derek Carmen. Matthew Bunk says Derek Carmen, and we'll wait for some more to come in. And Afton says, "Oops." So go ahead. Think of this one. Okay, here you go. David Poe says Will Howard. I could, depending on how everything works out, it could be. So while we're waiting for some more of these to come in, I will just tell everybody, make sure you check out all our podcasts. We have our live shows are coming. The Q&A, whether it's on Friday or Saturday, I'm still not sure. It kind of depended on some of the stuff going on, like when Steel City Insider finally gets their show done to us. I'm pretty sure this week is probably not going to be Sunday because of the Super Bowl, but then Brian will probably let you know then if it's going to be more of a Saturday or Sunday show. So make sure you're checking back for that. But other than that, we'll have all our shows for you. And of course, make sure you're checking out steelcurtainetwork.com with everything that we have going there, all the news of all the various stuff with the different coaches, and just continue to get phenomenal breakdowns from KT Smith and some really good draft stuff, not just from Andrew Wilbar, but from, I always say his name wrong, Scott Pavel, I think is the right way to say it. Hope I didn't mess it up. So he has some really good stuff that's entering there. So here we go. We got Jamie Carlo saying Derek Harmon. We've got Afton now saying Caleb Johnson. TD, Tom Dessenberger says Will Howard. And then Kathy Ford, she also says Caleb Johnson. And Steel Dog wants to see you mocking of the mock drafts is what he always likes from Big Bro. So, but didn't expect these were going to be quick to go through here at the end with the big question. We kind of ran over a little bit with our 5 minutes of non-Steelers talk. So if any more come up, we'll get to there. Rich, what do you want to say to close us out tonight?
I'm sad. You know why?
Why are you sad?
Because the Super Bowl's this Sunday and the Steelers aren't playing.
Yeah. And it sucks the Steelers are playing. But it's also sad because it means then there really is no football. But there's not really much football anyway.
Honestly, I really don't even care about this football.
Yeah.
Because the Steelers aren't playing.
Yep.
But it's okay. Yes, I am going to go with Steel Dog. Thank you. You know, he came up and wanted me mocking the mock drafts.
Okay.
I'm also going to go along with him and be saying if I'm pulling for a team in this, it is definitely the Seahawks.
I like Mike Vrabel, but I don't want them getting 7. So
That's
there
right.
you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, hey, Dave, there could be a chance that by this time next week, the coaching staff might be all rounded out. It may not. I won't be surprised if it is. I also won't be surprised if there's still a spot or two left that they're going to hire for. We're going to continue to move forward. I was actually kind of glad tonight to do this topic. I do like talking about players. I do not like talking about players the Steelers might have or we'd like to see them have on their rosters. Mm-hmm. I like to talk about guys that I know are going to be in the black and gold next year. We are going to be back here again next week to, be talking Steelers, whether that be, the coaching aspect of the franchise or the player part of the franchise. Either way, it's going to be about people we know are going to be with the organization next year. Can't wait.
Relax. You gotta just chill out.